Hey everybody, welcome to the Enhance Your World show. I am one of the hosts, Chris Alba. Larkin, unfortunately, will not be joining us today as she is under the weather. But the show must go on, and we've taken a couple weeks off, so I'm grateful to be back and moving forward into our new reality of today and what will come from this as part of our purpose, part of our mission, and part of the mystery. So I'm looking forward to talking about this topic today of what's the purpose of life. You know, we all have these desires to be of service, to be the best self that we can, to be ourselves, to be genuine, to be authentic, to be open, vulnerable, and loving, caring, nurturing, um, all those things. Those are part of our human nature. And when we get back to um, our true self, our true nature, a lot of our illusions, our beliefs, our conditions, the stories that we used to tell, they just fade away naturally because they only live in the mind. I was watching something earlier, and it just happened to be, I think it was on Instagram. I was doing a little scrolling, and a video popped up, and we were planning on doing the show, and it happened to come on, and it said, the purpose of life isn't always to be blissful. It isn't always to be happy. It isn't always to be in a comfortable state, even though a lot of times our ego, our conditioning, our beliefs, they separate us from that. So we're chasing a state. And for me, I can speak on, and a lot of other spiritual things, a lot of texts, a lot of different teachings, those types of things, talk about finding homeostasis, finding balance between the masculine mind, the head and heart, and to really be authentic. We have to find peace within ourselves, stillness within ourselves. It comes up a lot as I'm with my clients and things like that, and we talk a lot about anxiety and trauma and all the things that have happened to us, and how to still the mind. And it is my belief that the only time our mind is really still is when we're dead or brain dead. So we're always going to have thoughts. We're always going to have feelings. And when we can find peace within that, when we can find acceptance in that, those awarenesses, our mind kind of stills. It doesn't mean that we don't have thoughts, but we're not attached to those thoughts anymore. And those thoughts help us respond with clarity, with intentionality, rather than reacting out of our pain body, as Eckhart Tolle and so many others would talk about it. And that is part of the dance of life. I think our purpose of life here is to be of service, unconditionally loving service. That means service to ourselves and service to others. And I know in my walk, there's many times that I've told myself, well, I can take it. I can go through this. I can go through this challenge. I can go through this relationship. I can handle this. I can go through that. And when things didn't progress, or the certain desired state wasn't achieved, I would react out of emotionality, anger and sadness and fear. And it can be very self-destructive, and I actually believe for myself that one of my challenges has been being fearful of happiness, because happiness is great while you're there, but it's when that shoe drops, when things change, when relationships end, when the thing that you were working towards isn't working out, that it can get really frustrating sometimes, that we're not being met with what we expected, but we are receiving what we need in that moment to see where we really are. It is a saying, and I do believe in this, that most people will project onto you where they are within themselves. The things that they don't want to admit, the things that they don't want to own, because it's scary, it's painful, but at the same time, how do we grow our strength mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, if it isn't through challenge, if it isn't through those missteps, those missed expectations, those miscommunications, those misunderstandings in that moment? Because that moment led us to where we are now. And now that we've passed that state of time, we can see it with hindsight. We can see it with clarity. And that leads to our growth. It leads to a deeper understanding. It leads to better awareness about ourselves, how we relate to other people. And that gives us the opportunity to truly grow. Now, if we're never disappointed, if we're never upset, if we're never those things, then it's going to be really challenging for us to grow in the ways that we want to grow. The frequency of love, unconditional love, is where we come from. It's where we go back to. It's source energy. And source energy contains all energies. Unconditional includes them all. And when we can love our anger, when we can love our sadness, when we can love our complacency, when we can love all those aspects of ourselves and say that, that's a part of me. It's who I've been. And my purpose is to expose those shadow selves, those dark aspects of ourselves that we don't like about ourselves, that we don't want to admit are within us. And we shine the light awareness on it. And when we say, oh, I can be that way. Doesn't mean I have to be that way, but I can be that way. And the more we focus on what we actually have control over, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, the more aligned we live within the circumstances of life. There's a concept that I want to share here, that time and space are attracted to us because our presence is always in the moment. And a lot of times, myself included, we chase after love, we chase after money, we chase after power, we chase after all kinds of different things. And that chase has to mean that it's not coming to us. And this is challenging. This takes a lot of effort, internally as well as externally, to gain the clarity, the patience, the understanding that we're not smarter than the universe. We're not smarter than Mother Earth. We are gifted this ability as humans to have creative thought, and that creative thought can create things that maybe make life a little easier, a little more palatable. A friend of mine gave me a detox drink last night, and it didn't taste good, but I knew all the things in it were good for my body. So what did that allow me to do? Understand that it didn't taste good and still eat it anyway. Still consume it. My body cares about my body cares more about um, the nutrients and the minerals and the vitamins and all those things, so it can run the most effective way possible. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that enjoyable. Our ego, our persona, are things that are things that want to have it all. And sometimes medicine doesn't taste good. Well, why are we taking medicine? Well, that medicine is going to help us heal from our dis-ease, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, however you want to look at it. It's all energy. And we have these awarenesses, these concepts of mind, so we can see them, we can observe them, we can be aware of them. We don't have to be fearful of this. Yes, this Facebook is live now, and thank you for the compliment of looking good. I appreciate you, and hopefully I can bring more to this show than just looking good. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just over the years have a talent agency, um, do, doing all those things, was very surface and superficial, without just being like, well, I look good. I do that. I haven't been doing that as well as I used to. I allowed my thoughts and my emotions to get the best of me, and I lost track of certain aspects. I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into my practices, not just cognitively, but actually through my experience. And I allowed things to happen in my reality that were both in my control and out of my control. And because of that, I, have allowed myself to go back to some harmful habits. I'm sorry, I can't see the Facebook user. I would love to chat with you as well. I don't know who it is because it just says Facebook user. I think you have to sign in to Steamyard so I can see the names. So, but thank you for your compliment. Oh, hey, Greg, appreciate you. And yes, I would love to talk to you on a live and share what you're doing as well. Your videos are really cool, and the fact that you have that dexterity in your hands, man, that's just amazing to watch. So, absolutely would love to learn more about your journey and how you got to where you were going. So I'm saying that as I take responsibility for myself. Not that I'm beating myself up, not that I don't love myself, not that I, don't have compassion for myself and what I went through, because those choices that I made at that time. Sounds good, Greg. Definitely we'll do that. We'll get you scheduled in. I promise. It's just been crazy chaotic. So, in all the best ways, like so many good things are happening right now. And while I don't mind talking about my accomplishments, I also want to talk about my challenges, because it's so easy just to talk about the good stuff. But I'm holding myself accountable. To me, that is compassion. Now, what I choose to do with that is totally up to me. Totally up to me. And and it's true. You can lose friends. You can, all those things. There's consequences, right? And that's kind of the part of it. One of my more toxic behaviors, I could say in this moment, is holding myself accountable and holding other people accountable to the things that we said but hadn't done yet. And that's where I could be a little more loving, a little more compassionate to myself. Things happen, and sometimes they might be out of our control completely, especially if they're involving other people. Now, if we were solitary creatures, then yeah, everything is under our control. We want to stop polluting the environment. That starts with us, and then other people can witness us living in a certain vibration, a certain way, and choose to model that if they feel that it's beneficial for them or for our collective. That doesn't mean just because you stop littering doesn't mean other people are going to stop littering. Just because you hold yourself to a certain standard doesn't mean other people are going to hold themselves to that standard. And that's where communication comes in, and compassion and understanding and love. When you accept someone for where they're at, Brene Brown was talking about the other day. I was watching a video about her and her husband, and she was saying, relationships aren't 50-50 because sometimes you don't have the 50 to give. And so what her and her husband have created in their relationship is just saying, right now I'm at a 10, I just don't have everything in me. And then they're able to talk. And she says, as long as it equals up to 50% or 100%, then you don't really need to communicate. But if you're both at a 10, then you need to have a conversation about what the plan is of how you're going to be compassionate, understanding, do your best not to get triggered, those types of things, because it is all about flow. And our flow state involves all of our thoughts, all of our feelings, all of our everything. And when we're attached to a certain outcome, when we're attached to a certain story, when we're attached to what happened to us as a child, when we're attached to certain things, things that people did to us or what we did to other people, those kind of things, it creates a block in our energetic field. And it's been, from my understanding, that's where we get triggered from. And that trigger is just to let us know that it still exists in us, that we haven't totally forgiven it yet. We haven't totally healed it yet. We haven't totally learned the lesson, those types of things. And when we look at it from that scope, it's a gift. And when we receive a gift, what do we say? Thank you. That's a state of gratitude. It might not be the thing that we wanted. I remember as a kid, and I'm sure everybody has one of these, stories that you were really hoping for this certain gift, for your birthday or for, Christmas or whatever holidays you celebrate, whatever. And you didn't get it. And you were disappointed. It happens. But can you be grateful for it too? Yeah, sure. That's a choice. We all have these choices. I was speaking with my dad the other day, and, he's been super supportive of my walk here over the last year in many different ways. And, I decided to go and talk to him about that as we were working on some projects around the property. And, and I was sharing, my gratitude and my appreciation. And I understood, how it inconveniences, him, and how he's got this fear and insecurity and all this stuff. And, he stopped me and he said, yeah, but, I could be way better. And then, of course, I wanted to cry, right? Because I was like, absolutely, we both could be, and I've been stuck there. I've been challenged by that and was hoping for more. And just that acknowledgement was like, wow, how cool. How cool. He introduced me to one of his friends as a shaman and a healer. And, that to me was a huge compliment because he sees what it is that I do, not only for me, not only for my family, but for the community at large. It's part of my purpose here in life is to be the best unconditionally loving human being that I can. Accept people where they're at, accept that they have the opportunity to overcome whatever challenge they have in their life. And there isn't anything that we can't do. There was a meme that I created many, many, many years ago, and, it came down to the saying, like, if we were supposed to fly, we'd have wings. No, we were given this ability for imagination and skill sets to develop airplanes, helicopters, gliders, all those different things. How did we learn those things? Through observing nature. Nature has all the answers that we need. And the more we observe our true nature, our planet and whole, do we come up with these awarenesses that allow us to grow in a natural way. Over the last 20 years, I've been on this big self-improvement, be the best version of me kind of guy, and push and cut out, all the habits and all the people that were challenging. And, I really tried to create this peace palace. And, at the same time as I'm telling this story, I started thinking about when I first started coaching, talking about how we put up these boundaries, but they're really invisible fences. They keep us trapped in our container of conditioned beliefs of how life should be, how people should be, how, we want to be treated, however you want to put those concepts and those awarenesses out there. But that doesn't stop the things that don't have the shock collar on from coming into our territory. Now, when challenges, when challenging people, when challenging circumstances show up for us in our life, because again, we attract everything. We attract time and space. We attract the experiences that help polish us, that shape us, that help us grow beyond who we thought we needed to be, who we thought we are. Because again, that is an identity of the ego, whether it's spiritual or not. It's all identity. It's all ego. Whether you think someone's good, bad, evil, whatever, those are all mental constructs and concepts based on an experience. And if we don't allow people to show up in a different way, then how are they ever going to get the opportunity to show us that they're capable of more? As a former drug addict, I speak with this with such sincerity, and alcohol and, all the things that I was trying to numb myself, make myself comfortable, cope with some challenging things that had happened to me in my life because I wasn't taught these tools and resources at an early age. So, as a teenager, I had to go out and I had to put it into practice. I had to go find the content. I had to go find the teachings. I had to go find the practices and then do them. And from that came new awarenesses and how, and the more we do this from different lineages, the more we realize that there's only one universal truth. It's all ice cream, right? Many different flavors. What kind do you want? We go to the buffet. I don't typically eat buffets because they're not the highest quality foods. But let's just, for the conversation's sake, talk about this. Brian Tracy talked about this in one of his lectures, and he said, when you go to the buffet, you get what you want in the amount, all that stuff. And when you go with somebody else, you don't bash them for getting something different. You might say, man, you might want to try this. This is really tasty. Or maybe you don't want to try it. I didn't like this. But maybe you will. I don't know. But the point that I'm trying to make with this is we all have this ego, this limited self on this life, right? But it affects beyond that. And how we walk through life is that ripple effect. And there's unlimited possibilities, just in my life alone. I mean, I've had over 100 different jobs. I've been in many different professions. I own multiple businesses. And, I've been married. I've gotten divorced. I've been in love. I've been in anger. I've been hated. I've been, all these different things. And you know what? I'm finally in a place, at least within the feeling of my heart, that it's all okay. And there's nothing wrong. I've lived one of the best lives that I could ever imagine. I've gotten to have so much and shown so much in this one life, both good and bad, right? If we're going to talk duality, let's talk duality. But it was learning from both those polarities that helped me find my center. That helped me find that trust, that understanding, that, those types of things. And those are great compliments when people can see those within you. And, one of the challenging things in my early healing career was I thought there had to be this perfect modality. I had to do this. I had to do that. I had to learn this. I had to learn this skill set. Oh, if I only learn, cognitive behavior therapy, I can work with the mind in a little bit better ways. True. It's happened. Also the challenge with all these teachings is it separates us from our now truth. Because the truth isn't just cognitive. Our true expression is an energetic vibration. And when we find that state within ourselves, we will attract people that both show us how far we've gone and how much farther we have to go. It's just really simple. One of the most challenging things about this podcast, I find, is creating generalized concepts. That's easy to do, but how to apply it, how to share it in a way that is going to be impactful for all the individuals that watch this podcast. Now that's challenging. Because we're all different. We have all come from different things. We all perceive different. We all see things different. We might have commonalities, and that's the the thing that originally brings us together. But our differences, being able to overcome those, that's what shows our strength of character. That's what shows the strength of our unconditional love. That's what shows what we're truly made for. And it's easier to just cut it out and move on. And sometimes that has to happen because we're just going in different ways. When people don't want to hold themselves accountable for their actions, when people say one thing and continuously do another without realizing that they're out of integrity, we can talk to them, we can share some awarenesses. But if they're not willing to make the choices to put themselves back into that center state, man, we have to let them go and let them have their own experience. And maybe we don't close the door and we just say, hey, you know what? I just did this this week. I wish you the best. I'm here for you. If you ever need anything, I'm not turning my back on you. But I am walking in a different direction. Because you know what? There's only so many hours in a day. We only have so many sunrises we get to see. We only have so many winters and summers and springs and falls that we get to experience. And if we're waiting around for other people to catch up to us, then maybe we don't go as far as we want to go in life. And this comes back to purpose. I had a really good teacher challenge the crap out of me. I had just gone through a devastating breakup. I was in a really tough emotional and mental state. And my friend wasn't going to let me sit around and just lay around in it anymore, and invited me to go to this expo. And I met a teacher there. And he kept asking me, what is it you do? What is it? And I'd say, I help people overcome their challenges in their everyday life. I help people, repair broken relationships, overcome addictions, heal anxiety and depression, those types of things. And he's like, no. That's not what I'm asking you. And through the conversation, he said, here's what you are. And here's what we do. We're the energy that moves through time and space. And we have a choice to smile at people, to do good for ourselves and other people and the planet. Or we can choose not to. And when we choose not to, we always have an excuse and alibi. It's not my garbage. I'm not picking it up. Whatever it is. And speaking of that, I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and she's like, yeah, I like to go, and I do this as well when I go on nature hikes and I go kayaking, and, I'm out in nature and there's, people out there. There's usually trash because not everybody carries that level of morality or ethics. And it is what it is. And so we were talking about it, and I was making a joke and saying, effing humans, because they just don't know what they don't know. And she's like, yeah, but I look at it from a little different perspective. I look at it as I'm helping them erase their karma, because maybe they were driving down the road and something flew out of their car, or maybe a trash can got spilled or animals got in it and whatever. And so there's trash there. And so, I look at it from a perspective is I'm helping erase the karma of somebody else. And that's part of her purpose, right? She's a healer. is helping people clear the stuff, clear the way, so we can live in the purest vibration that we can. Because most of us are really awesome people. It's when we get stressed, when we get challenged, when we get disrespected, whatever, that we react in a way that isn't typical, a trigger, right? And that shows an aspect of ourselves. It's part of who we are. That hasn't been brought into the higher vibrations of frequency. And, to truly be an alchemist is to realize I'm in a vibrational state of this, let's call it sadness. I accept that. And guess what? I'll naturally let sadness just wash over me. And then it will go away. And then the more I'm able to just flow with those emotions, the more easily it is to shift into higher vibrations of being. Because we're not getting stuck there. We're not pushing it away. We're not chasing for happiness. We're not chasing for bliss. We're not chasing for things to be different than the way they actually are in this moment. We accept it fully. And because we accept it fully, it transmutes itself into an opportunity that allows us to go where we want to go. It's pretty cool. And I hope some of this stuff makes sense to those who are watching the podcast, both live and on the replay. I love the fact that we have the ability to chat live. And, if anyone has any comments, questions, concerns that they'd like to share, feel free to ask. Also, there's a lot of things coming up that I would like to invite people to share, to do some marketing, and not to sell anyone anything, because I used to be a salesman. I used to sell people things that they didn't need. They thought they wanted, but they didn't need. And I've paid a great price for some of that stuff. I sold cars to people that shouldn't have been sold because they weren't going to last very long. I sold products that helped destroy the planet, helped destroy people's health, provide distraction for people. I did all those things. I own it. And it's only through that have I tried to refine my ways and just share from my heart and saying, hey, this could be beneficial. If you want to take a chance, great. If not, fantastic. Because I'm not attached. I'm not attached to thinking that I need to fix you. I'm not attached to thinking that you need to be fixed. I'm not attached to thinking that life isn't showing up exactly the way it's supposed to. There's opportunities of growth in every moment. Abso-frickin-lutely. And that's the beauty. That's the mystery. That's the unseen. That's the chaotic feminine energy, if you want. I mean, it doesn't matter, man. It's whatever concepts you have in your mind, whatever beliefs you have in mind, you can shift those consciously with practice and intentionality. It takes time, takes energy, takes effort. It's simple, not easy. And science has proven that within 21 days of conscious effort, you can rewrite your subconscious programming. Now, I read an article, a study many years ago that NASA did, where they put people, astronauts, in these, gave them goggles that flipped everything upside down. So their whole world literally got flipped upside down, right? And after 21 days, give or take, right? Because it's not absolute. Their brain actually rewired itself and flipped everything back right side up. The interesting thing is when they took the goggles off, everything was upside down again. because their brain had rewired their reality so they could move in it. And then it took another 21 days, 30 days to reverse that effect. And that's how resilient we are. You know, cancer, this is going to be controversial. I've lost friends, family members. Sure, you have too, the cancer. So it's not that I'm trying to be insensitive. It's not at all. But cancer is a gift. It's a wake-up call that we're not living in our highest vibrational state. Any dis-ease shows up as an awareness so we can have the creative ability to overcome it. And we're all gonna transition out of this life. So I don't look at death as a bad thing. I just see it as a transition. And a lot of times I see death as a very healing thing for the individual that went through that experience. It's challenging for those who are left behind. I know. I've grieved so much. And at the same time, I've never felt closer to my ancestors as I do today. You know, maybe I don't get to pick up the phone. Maybe I can't go give them a big fat hug, physical existence. But I know I carry them in here. And I know they speak to me. And they challenge me. And they inspire me to be the best version of myself. That's my purpose. To live the best way I know how. And until I learn how to do it better. And then do it better than that. Because that's growth. It's a natural process. It's amazing. You know, one of the things that I see so many people struggle with that retire is they've dreamed this time to where they don't have to go into a job anymore, you know, and they pour their whole life into this career, saving their money, you know, investing in the market, doing things, whatever they can do, right? So they can have this secure financial life, which isn't secure because if the stock market crashed, all that money's gone. They changed the currency. It's all gone. You know, part of the scary part of the digital currency that most people don't think about. But there's a lot of limitation in that. If I give you a $50 bill, it's a $50 bill. If I Venmo you $50, you're not getting $50. You know, even if you know you know I send you $50 and there's a fee there, so that's less than $50. Then you try to put it in your bank account, there's a fee there, so there's less than 50. So it loses its power, its potentiality, and that's why tangible goods have so much value to us human beings. Things break. I was helping a friend move last night. Her ex hung her TV upside down. The bracket was hung upside down. I accidentally broke it, right? I was taking it off the wall. And when I took the safety screw out, I was expecting it to still hang there because that's the way they're designed. But he hung it upside down. So the lip that hung on to the actual bracket was on the bottom. So there was nothing to hold on to it. And it just fell. And I broke it. Now I get to buy a new TV for my friend. And, you know, she was very gracious and, you know, was telling me it was okay. No worries, all that kind of stuff. And I just said simply, I don't want the karma. I don't want your son. I don't want your kids to go without a TV. I know you're fine without a TV, but you know, I broke it. I need to replace it. Yeah, I agree with you, Raven. Most people do forget the most important thing to invest in is themselves. It's the only thing we truly have control over. You know, trying to always more stuff, and that can be taken away. And my life experience has shown me that I've been robbed. I've lost a home due to a violent neighbor. My family and I, were literally chased out of our home by a violent neighbor, and the police told us they couldn't help protect us. And then, we had no sense of security there since we were robbed, and we had this crazy neighbor that was causing all kinds of chaos for us. So we had to abandon it. We had to let it go. Luckily for us, it was a process that wasn't that hard, because that was just where we were in our life. I shouldn't say we. It wasn't hard for me to lose it. I know my son didn't mind losing it because of the place we moved into was so much cooler. And he used to call it the stinky house because it was an older house, and it was an oil furnace. So, it did have an odor that our apartment didn't have when we moved into it. And it had all these amenities and a pool and all that stuff. So my son was cool with it because, it was better for him. I don't know how my ex-wife felt about it. I never did ask her. And I apologize for that, but I'm just realizing that now. Because we agreed it was for the best when we were moving, but I never did check back in. So just holding myself accountable for that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Because it was in her family for 4 generations. So it was easy for me to leave, but it probably wasn't as easy for her to leave. And now she doesn't want anything to do with it, even though she could go sell the property, whatever. She's just like, whatever, it's out of my life forever. So that's how she decided to handle it. And that's totally her power and her choice. So rock on. So getting back to our purpose, I think our purpose in life, I feel our purpose in life is to find homeostasis, to find balance. It's the giving and the receiving. It's the unconditional love. It's the exchange of energies and all the different ways that we have the capability of doing it. And when we do it in the highest vibrational we can, it's going to benefit others more than if not. One of the things that I was just talking about with the conversation with my dad was, he has acquired, this property that I live on, and I've been using, I've been holding ceremonies here and having shamans coming from all over the world, so we can do, workshops and teachings and all those different things, do my healing from here. And it's been really good for me because I don't have to worry about the overhead of an office like I used to. And we can do more things because I'm not controlled by controlled by being in the city or, renting a place, and they don't allow you to burn sage or, whatever it is. You can't play your drum because you're, disturbing, other people in the office, which is totally understandable and respectful. Totally get it. Totally understand all of it. At the same time, having the freedom to do it is awesome. So anyway, so he has this property, and the thing that he's concerned is people are going to disrespect it and not take care of it. And, something's going to get broken or somebody's going to get hurt or, those types of things, which are valid fears in today's society. At the same time, as we were talking about it, he gained the understanding that, the people that come here to work with me are looking to enhance their well-being. They're not here in survival mode, trying to maybe get their fix, of making sure they can get their addiction, or there's something of value here that they have to have, and they take it, and that could totally happen, Absolutely 100%. I'm not saying that it's not possible. It's absolutely possible. It absolutely could happen. But the likelihood is reduced because of the vibration of the people that are coming here and what they're wanting to do with their life. People that are trying to heal themselves aren't really trying to hurt people, even though we do unconsciously. But again, that's our shadow self. That's the part that we have to wake up to. So when we hurt somebody, we go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't my intention. Please understand that. It's my intention for us to repair the damage through miscommunicating, through misunderstanding, through our emotionality, through our actions, whether it's something that we did or we didn't do, because they're really in the same spectrum of energy. And that creates stuff. And that stuff comes up when we can communicate it openly, authentically, honestly, vulnerably, all those things. The more understanding we can gain from one another, and the more harmony that we have within our relationships. If you blame, shame, guilt other people, that's going to come back on you. Because that's the law of attraction, right? Natural laws are natural laws for a reason. We may relabel them, we may rebrand them, but they are what they are. Call it karma, call it law of attraction, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Just in the way you communicate it. That's the only reason it matters. Works the same. Has the same effect. And so we were talking about upcoming events on March 27th. I'm sorry, March 21st. We have at 7 p.m. we have Speaking with the Elders event. And my brother Raven's on here. He might still be on here, but he did comment, so I know he was here. Him and I are hosting this thing, and we're really excited about it. We're bringing in 4 elders, and it's going to be a Q&A. So you can ask specific questions about what's going on in your life. You're not going to just be talked at. Oh, thanks, Raven. Thanks for letting me know you're still here. And how you find out about this event, because it is a free event. You can donate if you like. That helps. But let's just call it a free event with the ability to donate. You can come to my Facebook page, my professional pages, Enhancing Your World. It's also on there. It's also on Eventbrite, and you can look that up and you can get the details. If you have any questions or would like the direct link or anything like that, you can just direct message me, through these social media channels, and I'll make sure you get the link. It's going to be fabulous. I'm so excited and looking forward to it. It's something different, so I'm pumped up for that. And then in April, we have Shaman Eduardo. I just forgot his last name. April 15th, we're doing ceremony here. It's a plant ceremony, and with Don Eduardo and Shaman Paco. He's from Peru. His family lineage goes all the way back to the Incas. On the 24th through the 28th, we have Amano, which is a Colombian, and I don't even know his name right now. Lorenzo. He's from Colombia. He's coming here for a 5-day ceremony to teach back to origins, how to get back to nature, how to get back into our vibration with Pachamama, Mother Earth. and walk in an honorable way. So I'm really looking forward to those events. Of course, I'm doing Gauge Your Life events at Spiritual Horizons in Delaware, Ohio. That's actually on the 26th, and we're going to be doing those lives here soon, and all those different things. So that's me sharing a little bit what's going on, and how you can get involved. If you're if you find yourself in a space where you could use a hand, some assistance, I'm just a phone call, text message, direct message away. And we'll talk about your specific needs and how we can work together to get you there to enhance your life. Because, 10 years ago, 20 years ago was always my, at 18, I said, I get what I want out of life because I help others get what they want out of life. And I've lived as true to that as I can since that day. It's been in many different ways, and different industries and different things, but that's at the core of it. What I've always wanted to do is be able to live the life that I wanted to live by helping others live the way that they wanted to live. And when I started on this healing journey, 20 plus years ago, it started off as personal development because I didn't want to say that I was broken. I didn't have, challenges or whatever. I just wanted to condition all that negative out. And that's led me to this moment. Short abridged version, man. But the bottom line is we all have the capability of enhancing our lives. And when we, as Raven was saying before, invest in yourself. When we enhance our lives, when we enhance our well-being, we create the opportunity to do that outside of us. Whether you get paid for it or not, this isn't about that. Your purpose has nothing to do with the money you make. You can monetize it, and receive compensation. There's nothing right or wrong about that. But your purpose isn't about your doing as much as the foundation of who you're actually being. The doing is a reflection, an extension of that. So, when you walk in integrity, when you walk in honesty, when you walk in truth, when you walk in those things, good things happen for you. When you lie, cheat, steal, shame, blame, you're gonna have more of that attracted to you because you haven't learned your lesson yet. You keep freaking doing it. When you hold yourself accountable, when you acknowledge it, when you accept it, and you allow that it happened, you have the opportunity to shift it so it gets reduced. So learning the karmic lesson, breaking the cycle, however you want to talk about it. There's so many different ways to communicate. If I was born in Japan, I wouldn't even be talking English. And according to Dr. Emoto's work, that doesn't even matter that we speak different languages because it's all about frequency and vibration. According to his studies of being able to freeze, yeah, exactly. It's the cycle, right, Mark? And good karma, bad karma, that's a judgment. It's just the law of attraction. It's just energy. So it's how we relate to it. I was reading one of Dr. Emoto's books the other day, and he was talking about, and if you don't know who Dr. Emoto is, he's known for the study of water and the formations of crystals based on the vibration of language, written and spoken. Essentially, that's the easiest way to break it down. And he was saying the most powerful ones to use is love and gratitude in that combination, love, gratitude. And we say it a lot, right, in the spiritual community. Love, love and gratitude. So those are the highest vibrational states. that affect the water crystals and make the prettiest water crystals. And we're 70% water, so how we communicate internally and externally does affect our reality, both internally and externally. But he said the interesting thing is, and I don't know the word in Japanese, he said, but if you write the words in Japanese, which is different than love and gratitude, they still produce the same quality of ice crystals. It's just a different language. It's just another flavor of ice cream, right? It's just another whatever, man. And we're all unique beings. We're all somebody, and we're also nobody. Isn't that amazing? The unity of unconditional love. And that brings us to our purpose, is to be the highest vibrational self you can be for yourself and those that you affect with your energy, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, financially, all those things. And so that's going to be the end of our show today. Again, thanks again for tuning in and being a part of this. It gives my life meaning to be able to show up and do these types of things. So I'm grateful that I have this in my toolbox that I get to share and get to do. And I hope it makes a difference for people. Because otherwise I'm just sitting here talking to myself, which is okay because I do that most of the day. Not much different. But anyway, thank you for all that you are, all that you do, all that you choose to be. Life wouldn't be the same without you. You are important. You matter. You make a difference. And until next week at 12 o'clock, continue on, my friends, because when we enhance our world, we enhance our world. And we are creating that new earth that we all authentically desire. Much love and gratitude. Peace and chicken grease. We'll see you next week.